right, gang, welcome back to the AM show. All right, y'all, listen, this morning we have got a real treat. That's right. Joining us live in the studio is the incredible Vicki Solá. She's the voice and vision behind Que Viva La Música and Salsa Warriors Radio. And for decades, she's been shining a spotlight on salsa and Latin jazz, giving us legends, hidden gems, and stories that keep the culture alive. She's rubbed shoulders with legends like Tito Puente, Eddie Palmieri, Ray Santos, and so much more. She's also an author and an advisor to the Smithsonian.
Wow.
A straight up champion for Latin music. Please welcome the one and only Vicki Solá.
Woohoo! Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, and thank you so much for having me, Nadine and Z, and also a special shout out to my dear friend Jackie Nunez for booking me. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you here. And I was saying this at the top of the show. You have the best radio voice ever. It's like, it's iconic. That voice is iconic. Do you get that a lot?
Well, yes, I do, except not from my son. I think sometimes he's tired of hearing it.
Well, we're definitely not tired of hearing it today.
Yeah, it's perfect.
At the outset, I would just like to say that today is a special date. We had a promoter, a very much loved Latin music promoter for decades, Tony Rodriguez, and today marks his passing. He passed on September 24th, 1999, and he always said, together, we do this. We never do this alone. And I've lived by those words. And I have to say that my community has made me who I am. So I just, give thanks. I've been so blessed.
Yeah, well, I think that's a special tribute and shout out. And our thoughts are with you and everyone who was touched by his life, especially for today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. So we just wanted to kind of kickstart the conversation, just bringing it all the way back to the beginning. Before you even started your career, did you always know that radio was something that you wanted to get into? Did you love radio? Was music just in your soul? Just take us back to those early days.
Okay, well, music has always been in my soul. When I was growing up, I wanted to be three things. I wanted to be president of the United States, I wanted to be an astronaut, and I wanted to be a DJ. So at least I hit one of them.
There's time for the other two, don't worry.
Time for the other two, yeah. But, my dad was Puerto Rican. May he continue to rest in peace. And my mom, may she rest in peace as well. She was a Juilliard-educated pianist. And so, music was all around me when I was growing up. I always knew this was my music. My father was a proud Puerto Rican. He came here at age 5 from Santurce. And, I just hope he's proud of what I'm doing. But, the music was always there for me when I was a kid at my grandmother's house. I used to put a record on, then run over to her desk and make believe I was inflicting my tastes upon the masses. And now I can do that for real.
I love it.
But, Ray Barretto, the great conguero and band leader. Ray was like my other dad. And, that was great, too. I had somebody to inspire me. To this day, he inspires me. He, when I asked him if I could use Que Viva La Música as the title of my show, he said that he was honored. And that's just how much of an inspiration he was to me that, I took that song as my title. And that song, by the way, was composed by the great Roberto Rodriguez Sr., longtime member of Ray's band. So, I had that, and Ray introduced me to Tito Puente and other people, and it just kind of grew from there. I started this show in 1983. I first came to radio in 1981. Now, I guess you could say I was a shy kid. I was the kind of kid, like in class, don't call on me. I was the kind of kid when I was 4 years old and my mother had company, I'd go under the table like for a half hour. Now I come out after 15 minutes. But,
you've gotten better.
So one day I got in the mail something from Fairleigh Dickinson University, which I had attended. Are you interested in radio? And I was like, well, on a lark, I filled out the card and I sent it back. And then lo and behold, I find myself in a meeting. And in this meeting, there were 200 people. I said, well, I'll never get on the air. Then we had auditions. Once I put those headphones on, it was good. It was all right. So I think I read some news copy, and our station manager at the time, Carl Kraus, who to this day I am still, friends with. He's like family. Carl heard me read. He said, I think we can use you. And, then I was baptized. Originally, I was doing news, but I'm not cut out for news. It's the music that, the music that just powers my spirit. So one day I was baptized by surprise. Somebody didn't show up. They had just taken European classical music off and put jazz in. I knew something about jazz as well as Latin music and R&B, all of which I love. So they told me, you're going on the air. I was like, what? I had some vinyl with me. Yep, it was back in those days we had reel-to-reel and vinyl. You might have seen some of the pictures. And as soon as I put those headphones on and heard the music and heard my voice, I was good. People couldn't believe it was my first time on the air. And from there on in, the music is what powers my spirit, and it's what gave me, I guess, the courage, although I don't even know if I needed courage because, again, once I sat there and had those headphones on and heard the music and my voice through the headphones, I was cool. It was great. I couldn't get enough. I mean, to this day, just skipping ahead now, I've done other radio stations. Right now, for over a year, I have been on Mundo Salsa Radio.com with Que Viva La Música, and I am on from 1 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday. I could keep going. In the beginning, I was on from 1 to 8 p.m. They had to at the Apollo get one of those little crooks and get me off. But the music, I can just keep going. That's what it means to me. It powers my spirit. It gives me strength. I feel like this Afro-Cuban music, which is really what it is, it heals us emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. To me, it's everything.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Now I have a question around the setup. So, are you, especially even in those early stages, where you were a DJ? Are you also spinning your preferred records? What is that process like as far as the specific music that's being played? Is that of your choosing, and how did that develop? And how did you begin to carve out your niche between you just being a DJ and a voice, and bringing in the musical element that resonated with you specifically?
Well, I was lucky because WFDU at the time touted itself as the non-commercial alternative. So we were able to make our own choices and, our own playlists. I mean, it quite differed from when I worked at 1380 WBNX, which was, I believe, the New York area's first Latino station. BNX stood for Bronx, and there they would staple together a bunch of papers, drop a bunch of albums literally on the floor, and it would be, 1A, 1B, 1C, up to 66 A, B, C. When you finished 66, you went back to 1, so that was all pre-programmed. But what was beautiful at WFDU was we could play what we wanted. And I had that mentality of taking an album, and I would look at it and say, what is not being played? What's a great track that nobody is listening to? If it was a 45, it would be the B-side on an album. There's plenty of choices. And I knew, number one, if the intro bored me, it would bore my audience. And actually, Andy Gonzalez, may he continue to rest in peace, the great bass player and member of Libre and more. Andy was horrified when I told him this is the way I chose music, but I could take an album, put the needle down in several places. I could tell you if the arrangement resonated with me, if it would with my listeners, if the lyrics were clean, and just generally the whole kind of groove of it. So I still have that non-commercial mentality. I mean, I will go on to this day, and of course, I honor the legends. I start with Que Viva La Música by Ray Barretto, and then I play what I call my tribute to the big three, the Palladium days, Tito Puente, Machito, and Tito Rodriguez. And I have added Eddie Palmieri, who passed away on August the 6th and broke our hearts. And to me, Ray and then Tito, both Titos and Machito and Eddie Palmieri, to me, they make up the Mount Rushmore, my personal Mount Rushmore of salsa. So I think I've digressed from what you've asked me, but again, it's been sort of a passion. I came on in 1981, I came on doing jazz, and in those days you were able to get quite an education from the liner notes on the back of an album. These days, not so much. I mean, with MP3s, it's limited. You get what the, promoters give you. But, I learned quite a lot. But I started almost immediately putting in Latin jazz, Ray Barretto, Cal Tjader, Claire Fisher, Tito Puente. Then I got bold. I put in salsa. I put in Willie Rosario.
Yeah.
And finally, in 1983, I asked my boss, Carl Kraus, can I make this show all Latin? And he said yes, and they supported me. I have to say,
Wow.
that the station really supported me throughout those years, and it makes me proud. We were a non-commercial, university-owned, community-supported station, and our show, in terms of garnering funds, every year, decade after decade, we were number one. It made me so proud of our music and our community.
Wow, that is beautiful. And I'm sure it's great to hear that story, because I was going to ask you, were there a lot of barriers that you had to break down, being not only doing a Latin show, but also being a woman breaking in the early 80s into radio? And it seems like that, you tell me, but it seems like it ended out, of course, okay. But was there anything initially when you first got into it, the kind of, mountains you had to climb, I guess?
Well, actually, at WFDU, I was always treated well. I was always treated very fairly, excuse me. And it was more when I worked in commercial radio that, there were barriers and there were problems. And, it was me, the woman, and there were some difficulties there. But I find in the non-commercial world and with my musical community, the guys and gals who play the music, I have gotten nothing but respect.
That's fantastic. I love to hear that. Yes, that's, the way we should be progressing.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And since the time that you started up until now, because you have been doing this, you're so active now. I mean, what would you say are some big changes that you've seen within not only the music scene, the Latin and jazz music scene, but also just in being a DJ on the air?
Well, back in the old days, in the beginning, in the 80s, and again, I came to WFDU in 1981, started Que Viva La Música in 1983. I would go up the stairs, and it was a big staircase, and I would have 2 boxes of vinyl. And, in a sense, it was spontaneous. I didn't always know what I was going to do, but sometimes I would, spontaneously weave a tapestry, whether it was with lyrics or playing, highlighting piano. But, we had the 2 turntables, we had reel-to-reel machines, cartridge machines, and now, fast forward to 2025, even before that, when I do my Saturday show, it's like I'm sitting with you here today. I'm at my desk in my home office with my computer, with a microphone, with my headphones, and I have a program called Virtual DJ, and I'm playing MP3s. Now, the only difference is I can't be as spontaneous the night before, and I'm usually up till 5 a.m. The night before. I have about 60 songs. I've arranged them on my desktop, and then I write them all down in a notebook. Then I go and tag each song in Virtual DJ, and Well, basically, I roll out of out of bed after a few hours of sleep and get some coffee, and then turn on my computer, and I go, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's the beauty of the digital age, right?
Oh,
It's kind
yeah,
of a
yeah.
snap of your finger a little bit instead of, I can just imagine you carrying all those records up the stairs, trying to lay them out, see what would sound good. And you spoke about wanting to play the B-side a lot. Are you still trying with your current radio program, trying to highlight folks that aren't getting a lot of airtime or highlight songs that people don't really know about?
You know, I'm so glad you asked that because, yes, that is still my mentality. And of course, you know, I pay tribute to the legends. But ever since I started at WFDU, my whole intent, my purpose was to support our independent artists, and that's what I do to this day. You know, I mean, we are not going to keep this thing going if we don't support the people that are making the music today and carrying the torch into the future. So, yeah, that is very much my mentality and my purpose. Honor the legends, but yes, I mean, the show I just did this past Saturday, yeah, I honored the legends, but I would say maybe 80% of what I played was new material by independent artists that I know. And it was always my contention. We have so much talent just in the tri-state area here. It's just amazing, and these folks need to be heard. It's my pleasure to interview them, give them a microphone, and to be able to speak with our community. You know, to me, making a difference is what it's all about. And again, I've been blessed to participate in this industry more than I ever thought possible when I was growing up. And I used to sit on my bed and try to play percussion to Ray Barretto and Manny Oquendo and Eddie
Aw.
Palmieri. You know, I'm blessed.
Yeah, a dream come true. And what's the feedback been to, you know, when artists who maybe aren't normally on, you know, being played on the radio, they hear your show? What's the feedback been like to you? Or what does the audience think about hearing some of these new tracks?
Oh, the audience loves it. And, you know, I'm really busy on a Saturday because, you know, the other station, WFDU, changed its format to 60s and 70s rock oldies. So, and I do have to thank Duff Sheffield. He is the one who got me on from Tuesday afternoons to Saturdays. But, you know, things happened and I wound up, you know, on, on, on Mundo Salsa Radio. But it's, you know, my audience has come with me. It's a beautiful thing. I have a guy who just turned 100 years old yesterday.
Wow.
And he's been a fan of mine and a listener since 1983 when I started.
Wow.
He streams me.
Wow.
Okay?
He's learned how to do it.
Yeah. So I'm a little younger than that, but I can stream me too.
There you go.
Wow.
But, you know, I'm busy. I have people are reaching out to me on the Mundo Salsa Radio chat, and they're reaching out to me by text, by messenger, by WhatsApp, commenting on social media posts. So I am busy, and I've always thought of radio as a two-way communication. That is so important. So I am greeting my people on the air, my regulars, and I am interviewing up-and-coming artists. And yeah, I will play Machito, Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez, Eddie Palmieri, of course, Ray Barretto, but I also play Bad Bunny. I love Bad Bunny.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
Oh,
We
yeah.
love him
Oh,
too.
yes.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
he has brought, I believe, $713 million to Puerto Rico, you know?
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's staggering.
That's incredible. So what does
Yeah.
what does that feel like to know that you have that impact? You have a listener who still streams you. He's broken 100, and you have your followers who they are following you wherever you go. They're rocking with you. What does that feel like?
You know, to me, I mean, again, it's a blessing, but it's also a responsibility. I feel a great responsibility to give my very best. And I think I hope I do that. I hope I do that. But I have a responsibility to my community.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think you're doing such a fantastic job. The feedback is definitely, it's important to hear that, yeah, you're on the right track. And I think that's why you've been so successful all these years as well. Now, I want to talk about just your success a little. We were just showing some photos of you with some incredible legends. Now, do you have a standout moment or standout story from someone you've had on the show who's in the Latin community that really just sticks with you to this day?
Oh my goodness, there are so many. I mean, Ray Barretto, I grew up, I taped his album, The Message, on a cassette player in his basement. I don't know if he ever thought I was going to be doing what I do. I remember I would be at the Cheetah, that was on 52nd and 8th Avenue in Manhattan. And, I was there the night they made the Fania All-Star movie. I was there the night the Stylistics came in from Philly. And, I would think I was cool. I was underage, but they let me in. I saw so much history. I didn't know at the time that this was setting the backdrop for my life. But I used to think I was cool, being there at 4 o'clock in the morning on Latin night. And then the next day, Ray would be at my door talking to my father in rapid fire Spanish. And I'd be like, oh, God, don't give me away, Ray. And evidently he didn't because, excuse me, if Ray had given me away, I can guarantee you right now I would be speaking fluent Martian. But Ray came up to the studio and, I think, he said something to the effect that, wow, I never thought you would be doing this and you would also be writing for a magazine. I've written for several, including Latin Beat magazine, which I wrote the New York column for over a decade. Then another time, Tito Puente came up to the station and when he said to me, I'm so proud of you. I always knew you could do it. It's moments like that that stick. And then having Ray Santos, the great Ray Santos, up at the station. Probably, I think you have a picture there, a photo of me with Ray. That was just a platinum moment, as my son calls it, a platinum moment. So there have been so many. And again, when I look back on my life and everything that I've been blessed to be able to do, I'm like, wow, what a great ride it's been. And it ain't over yet.
Yeah,
I still got a ticket
right.
where they can punch holes in it,
That is right. You're crushing it. And there is so much that you are doing even outside of radio. And we want to get into all of that because you're an author, you host a podcast, you do your there's a lot going on. But what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into all that other fun stuff you're doing outside of your normal radio programming. So everyone, don't go anywhere. There's going to be more with Vicki Solá when we return.
All right, folks, welcome back. If you have been chatting with us and sticking with us, we are here with Vicki Solá, and she is incredible. We have been going through her beginnings as a DJ and how that has taken her through a long career, meeting with legends and making such an impact. And now we want to dive in with Vicki and just ask you, there's so many other things that you do, and one of the fantastic things, I'm a huge sci-fi person, and you are an author. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. Real quickly, I just wanted to mention that my show, Que Viva La Música, was recently, I think, number 20 in the top 80 Latin podcasts for 2025. So I just wanted to tell you that. So that's gratifying. And my voice might be a little rough, and you might hear me clearing my throat because last night I just produced and published my 216th weekly episode.
Wow.
Of Perswayssick Radio, Unearthly Comedy. Generally, that's an overnighter for me. So that's, I made it a little shorter, but it is short and sweet, the one I just published last night. But
you're talking about your podcast, right?
I'm talking, yeah. This is like, aside from the Que Viva La Música is podcasted. I podcasted on rss.com every week after the show. But then, what I just mentioned, the top 80 Latino podcasts, that's, I guess they're just looking at the podcast of Que Viva La Música. But this other podcast you're talking about, the comedy, sci-fi, fantasy podcast, is totally different. That's separate. I started it in 2021. Now, I used to do a lot of production in radio ever since I came to the station, to WFDU in 1981. I was great with a razor blade and a grease pencil. That's the way it was in those days. And when I worked at WBNX, I worked with the great Polito Vega. And if Polito stuttered, I could cut that out. In fact, he used to make a mistake and say to me, you will fix it, and walk out and leave me with all this stuff to do. So then my son was born in 1991. I kept doing my show, but it took me away from production. So in 2021, I decided, I had written these comedy, sci-fi, fantasy books based on the antics of my dogs, making them canine humanoids in a different dimension. And I was like, something? I bet I could get a lot of listeners if I made a podcast. So I taught myself digital audio editing. And, I write the scripts, I do all of the voices. If my voice, like I said, sounds a little rough today and I have to clear my throat, it's just because I'm doing all these crazy voices. I'm recording on 4 tracks and I have a huge sound effects library. I'm having a blast.
You know what? It sounds like a blast. And we actually have a little bit of a clip from the podcast so people can actually hear you. So why don't we check that out and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. Slamming us to the floor. Possibly mistaking me for Rapunzel, Gnisi clutched fistfuls of my hair to pull himself upright and dashed out into the street. As profanity spewed from drivers' mouths, he squatted down and snatched up a shiny object. He squealed, doing cartwheels all the way back to the car.
That's 15 cents this week.
Shooting him daggers, I massaged my sore scalp.
It's incredible. The sound effects are perfect.
Thank you. I just, what's great? I laugh while I'm doing this, and sometimes I have to do many takes because I start laughing in the middle of my own script. I don't know how cool that is to laugh in the middle of your own stuff. I can read you here, what it says on buzzsprout.com. That's where I have this particular podcast. Logic takes a break and chaos runs the show when stranded Earthling radio DJ Nikki Rodriguez, and that's an alternate version of myself. It's my convoluted autobiography. When stranded Earthling radio DJ Nikki Rodriguez is stuck in the bizarre dimension of Perswayssick County, ruled by canine humanoid Zig Gnisi, an elbow-high, fast-talking, dog-shaped disaster. From catastrophic car rides to alien encounters and tricycle-themed fine dining, every episode is a laugh-out-loud blend of comedy, sci-fi, and fantasy with a side of absurdity. So yeah, that's what I do, and I think it also serves as an escape for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is it about the sci-fi genre and writing? What does that do for you?
It brings me into another world. You know how it is when you're sort of in that flow, anything that you're doing that you love. I mean, it happens when I'm doing Que Viva La Música, and it happens when I'm doing this. The time can just go by. At the end of my Saturday show, I'm like, what, 5 hours is gone already? And the same thing here. I will tell you, it's not unusual for me writing the script and then executing the production. It'll take me sometimes 15 hours.
Wow.
I will turn in at, 6:30 a.m. sometimes, but it's gratifying when I see the distribution, and there it is on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, all the different platforms. And I'm like, wow, this is something that came out of my mind. I did it, and here it is now. Maybe 6:30 a.m. I did it, but here it is for the world to see. And I have right now, I would say close to 26,000 downloads from all over the planet. It's just a beautiful thing.
That's a huge accomplishment. Good for you.
I mean,
Thank you.
What inspires you, to begin to do something like this? I think I don't know many people who have, number one, I mean, the talent and the dynamic range to be able to do all the voices, and then of course you have the editing experience to bring it all together. But bring us back to the moment where I guess what does it look like? You're kind of sitting there and you're like, you know what? I got an idea.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's like I have an idea, and then my son tells me he can smell the wood burning, and I'm sitting here with a piece of paper. I usually my process is I take a legal pad, I turn it horizontally, and then my good friend Michael Potter, who ran our writers group for years, once I was stuck, Michael told me, remember, every story, whether it's a story, a novel, or a chapter, has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I sit there and I kind of map it out. I make an outline, and then writing the script is easy because I know these characters so well. Bezig Gnisi, director Gnisi, he's a doctor and a director, so he's a director. And Superflea, they were my real dogs, and they had these crazy personalities. The real Gnisi would walk on two legs for a $5 bill. Gnisi loved money. And Superflea was so smart. Superflea understood words when we spelled them. I'm a big animal advocate, too, on social media. I'm a moderator and an admin on several groups. Again, it's like a keyboard warrior. My respect is to the people that are out there, doing the thing, just coming up against all of these tragic situations and giving virtually everything of themselves to, make a difference and help these animals. But, I love my dogs. They totally inspired me. And then on the other side, you have me, Nikki Rodriguez. Rodriguez is one of my family names. So I call it my convoluted autobiography set to sci-fi, fantasy, and comedy. So I sit there and the script takes shape easily because I know what every character would say. I hear it in their voice. So I type it all out, print it out, and then I gather on my desktop all my sound effects that I need for that particular episode. And then I go into Hindenburg Journalist Pro, which is the digital audio workspace that I use. And I set my little effects, and I go to town. And I'm very fastidious. I mean, I could do a voice like, Gnisi calls Nikki Ig. That's short for Igelheimer, which is a disgraceful being on Planet X, like a three-legged troglodyte. He's always putting her down. But I can have him say, "Hey, you lousy Ig, get in here." And then Flea will say, "Oh, Zig, you're not very nice to Nikki." And then, Ingeborg Scribbling is the therapist. She's based on my Norwegian grandmother, and she'll say, "Dr. Gnisi, I would like to see you in here right now." "Hey, I ain't coming in here. What can you do for me?" And then we have Dr. Alexandra C. Idnas. That's a tip of my hat to my sister, whose name is Alexandra, and Sandy, we call her for short, is Idnas backwards. So she'll come in and say, "Dr. Gnisi, I think I would like to try this new medication on you." And then what really kills my voice is when I do the alien Markmen. They're from the planet of the marked men, a real cliche. They destroyed their own planet, so they came to the dimension of Perswayssick County where all this takes place. And they're like, to Gnisi, they're like, "Hey, you doc, what's up? You got our money." So, that voice I have to watch. I can't do too much because I start coughing if I do it too much. But yeah, I have such a blast. And, the way Perswayssick County started is Earth and Gnisi's planet X, spelled ECCCHS, Planet X and Earth grazed each other's atmosphere right over New Jersey. So this formed another dimension, the dimension of Perswayssick County. And, they use, the money that we use, they speak English. And it's just like regular New Jersey doesn't know they're there, so they don't have to pay taxes and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, I am obsessed with this. I love that this all just came from your imagination, your brain, and the performance you just did there. I think the next thing, you got to take the show on the road.
Yeah.
I think you need to start doing live plays with it. I mean, it's so fun. And I just want to put back up the 2 books that you've written that the podcast were actually based off of, because you actually also created an animated trailer for The Getaway That Got Away. And it is so funny, guys, promoting the book. We have a little clip of it, so check it out. And then I want to talk about your inspo behind this.
I got to give my sister Sandy props because she did the production on this.
Okay, all right. Let's see Sandy's work.
Me that book.
You mean this stinking book?
Yeah, that would be it. The Getaway That Got Away by that Vicki Solá human alien person.
You mean this stinking book with me on it? And that young troublemaking Earth girl, Nikki Rodriguez, who just wants to go home?
You the troublemaker. I kinda like her.
She blames her dimension burn on me and says I stole all her.
Hand it over, Doc. Now! Real slow-like.
No! I don't want no one else reading it!
Give me that.
I'm obsessed with this. I think that is so funny. Tell us about how this came to be, how you wanted to do an animated trailer for your sci-fi book.
Well, yes, Ganesi, I mean, that stinking book with you on it.
Yeah. So what was the inspiration behind the doing an animated trailer for your book?
Well, I had, seen that people would do that. And, my sister and I put our heads together. And I wrote a script. I went to her house. I think it was the 4th of July, must have been 2011. And I sat in front of her microphone, and that's when I said, I love doing all these voices.
I love that.
Amazing.
I love that. What she put together is very entertaining. I mean, after watching that, I feel like it would make anyone who has seen that to want to immediately dive into the books. Do you have some more that you have coming down the pipeline? I mean, what's next for the writing and the podcast?
Okay, well, I started before the pandemic. I started writing a book, a sequel called Severely Happy. That's still in progress, but I kind of made a detour to do this podcast. So I'm excited about the podcast. The episode I put up last night, which is called Closet of Doom, it sort of intersects the 2 parallel dimensions, parallel universes that I have going at once.
Oh, wow. That sounds incredible. So you're just continuing to create, and you're just continuing to kind of push the needle forward, which I love. I mean, it all makes sense why your voice is a little bit sore today. So we're just so grateful that you're able to sit here and chat with us a little bit. And I just want to really quickly, before we wrap up the conversation, I just want to talk about like a big highlight from your career. I mean, you are called the Queen of Latin Radio. What does that honor mean to you? What do you feel when people say that to you?
Well, something, I'm very humble. And again, I feel that I'm blessed in this lifetime and that my responsibility is to give the best I can. It doesn't make me need a larger hat size. It just makes me realize that I got to really, really put out my best, and I endeavor to do that. I also want to quickly give a shout out with love to 3 people on my team, my Que Viva La Música team that I love very much, and they've made a profound difference in my life and for the program. Marisol Cerdera Rodriguez, Jose Calderon, and King Louis Vasquez. I give a shout out to them. And Louis has a show on Mundo Salsa Radio, King Louis Royal Salsa on Tuesdays. And I also have to shout out Ricardo Rivera Capicu, DJ Capicu, who he founded Mundo Salsa Radio, and it's heard all over the world. I'm so proud of him. So, and a shout out with love to all of my brothers on Mundo Salsa Radio.
Amazing. I love that.
Incredible.
Love it, love it. Well, Vicki, we just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us, share your story, and also what you have coming down the pipeline. We will definitely be listening to that podcast, especially after this live performance. You got to take it on the road.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, my big dream is for it to be a motion picture, kind of like Harry Potter animated with the, characters digitally produced with human actors, and to have some of our good Latin music as the, background music for, the soundtrack. So that's a dream of mine. I'm going to keep on working on that.
Well, I think you know a few people who could definitely help you with that soundtrack. So
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, we're rooting for you. We're supporting you, and thank you so much again. So, guys, if you want to catch Vicki, you heard her. She's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts with the podcast itself, and then of course on Saturdays as well. We can get that up on the screen from 1 to 6 p.m. So, thank you, Vicki, so much. There she is.
Yeah.
Yes, MundoSalsaRadio.com, and we just are very appreciative you joined us today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nadine, and thank you, Z, and thank you, Jackie Nunez. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we have more of the show when we return, so don't go anywhere.